Hey guys, we saw the other day that we looked into the sugya of Yak Nahaz, of what order you should make Kiddush when Yom Tov chal להיות Motzei Shabbat, when Yom Tov falls out after Shabbos. So the machloket between Rav and Shmuel, is it that you're Malav and the Melech and then Yotzei Likrot Iprakos, right? Do we escort the king out first with Havdalah and then bring in Yom Tov the Iprakos in the mashal of Kiddush for Yom Tov? Or like Rav, do we not want to be just getting out of Shabbos as fast as we can with Havdalah? Because it's Maxi Alive Kamas Oy. It looks like it's a burden. It looks like Shabbos is a burden to you. We don't want it to look like that. So we make Kiddush first and then Havdalah. We made that connection between this idea and Ein Osim Mitzvot Chavilot Chavilot. Remember we saw in the Rashbam, it says Maxi Alai Kamasoi. When you're trying to get 2 for 1, right? 2 for 1 is something you do when it's not something you really want to have to pay for. You really don't want to put that effort into it, so you got to get it all out of the way at once, right? To try to get rid of 2 brachot, 2 mitzvot with one thing, with one cup, it's Maxila Kamasoy. It looks like it's a burden for you to be doing the mitzvot. That's not how you want to do them, right? Do you want it to look like you're schlepping up a hill with these big chests, or do you want your mitzvot to look nice, to be enjoying them, to really embrace them and treat them nicely? Those are the 2 approaches we went through. We're going to see another place where this idea comes up now. So where else could you think that this concept might come up, right? What other things might mechselai kamasoi? What other ways of doing something might look like it's a burden? Can you think of anywhere? Type it into the box, the question here. So we're going to take a look at the place where it comes up in the Gemara, right? We're going to take a look over here. This is Masechet Berachot. We see that over here. Perek Rishon, the first perek of the Masechet. Parak's name is Me'ematai. Me'ematai Karnat Shema. It's the first parak. Me'ematai Karnat Shema ba'arvit meshash ha'kohanim nechnasin la'ocha b'shematan. Remember that Mishnah from back in like 5th grade? Right? This is Daf Chet Amid Aleph. You know it's Amid Aleph because there's only 1 dot, not 2. So we're going to see in this Gemara, it addresses something very, very similar. Right? We're going to take a look here. It's still Masechet Berachot Perek Me'ematai Daf Chet Amid Aleph. That's a little bit lower in the page here, where it says that Amar Rav Chisda would say, Liolam nikanes Adam Shnei Petachim Bebeit HaKaneset. Liolam, that means you should always do this. This is a good thing to do. This is an eitzah, a good advice. You should do. You should always enter the shul Shtei Petachim. 2 doors in the Beit HaKaneset. The Gemara is going to ask, like, what does that mean? Enter 2 doors. So the Gemara is going to use the phrase Salcha Daitach. Salcha Daitach does it even enter your mind? Like, could that possibly be what you mean? You said something and it sounds like one thing. That can't possibly be what you actually mean. So it's going to say Salcha Daitach, right? Shnei Petachim. Salcha Daitach. You really mean 2 doors? It doesn't actually clarify that question. So what do you think it means? Gemara says Salcha Daitach. Does it really mean 2 doors, right? 2 doors in a shul? Not every shul has 2 doors. How can you go and what would that even mean? Right? You walk in the one door and then you go out the other door to go back in the other. That's a circle. That's like a revolving door. That's not going to be very helpful. What on earth does it mean? Salcha Daitach. Shtei Petachim. What does that mean? So the Gemara continues. Ella means rather. Salcha Daitach means like the wrong explanation. Is this? Do you really think it means the wrong explanation? The Gemara is not saying something silly here. Ella ema shiur shtei ptachim. The amount of time of 2 doors. V'achachach yitpalel. Afterwards, you should pray. You should do tefillah. You should enter the shul. Now, This is a machlokes exactly what it means. But is it going to be the length of time that it would take you to enter the door, and then the length of time it will take you to enter the door, walk into the shul, at least stand there long enough for it to be as if you were really there? Or is it going to mean literally take the width of the doorway and multiply it by 2 and enter in a little bit longer, right? You should not just be standing there at the doorway or just in the shul for like 10 seconds and then hop out. You should not be standing there right at the doorway during that time. Rashi is going to explain what exactly does this mean. Let's take a look at Rashi here. Shir shtei petachim. Rochev yikanes lifnim shelo yeshev samuch lepetach. Right? You should go in. He's taking the width space. You should measure the doorway, not necessarily literally with a measuring tape. That would be kind of weird. Measure the doorway and go 2 of those in. Right? Yikanes lifnim. You should enter into the shul the width of 2 doorways. Shelo yoshev samuch lepetach. You should not just sit right next to the door. Why do you think it might be that you wouldn't want to sit right next to the door? So Rashi's answer is, look forward to seeing yours. Rashi's answer is the near alive kamasoi. Ooh, have we heard that word before? That phrase before? It looks like it's a burden. It looks like it's a burden, right? Why would it look like it's a burden? Looks like it's a burden because it looks like the person's trying to run out the door right afterwards. He's rushing and look at the guy's looking at their watch. Come on, it's davening over. This guy got places to be. I got things to do. Something else. Barav tefillah, man. Oh, it's a burden. It's a muscle. He's trying to get out. Ikuv Beit Knesset, right? The Beit Knesset is an ikuv. It's holding him back. It's holding her back. She doesn't want to be there. They're at the door, so as soon as Aleinu and Shir Shayom, and we have Baruch Nafshi and Rosh Chodesh, and also it's Chanukah, so it's Mizmor Shir, Chanukah Bayit, and all the different things we could possibly be doing. As soon as they're done, out the door, right? Ikuv Beit Knesset. V'hi mezuman samach lepetach l'seit. They're right there at the doorway, ready. Mezuma means ready. Samuch lepetach, right next to the door. Samuch means right next to. Lepetach, let's say to get out of there. Rashi says, don't do that. Right? It's not a marathon. It's not a race. Go in. Shtei ptachim, rochev yakanes, lifnim, shelo yoshev samuch lepetach. Don't just sit right next to the doorway. The near like kamasoi makes all tefillah look like a muscle, looks like it's a burden. Ikuv Beit Knesset, it's holding him back, holding her back. You're totally ready to get out the door as soon as it's done. Now, what we're doing here, in both cases, is having one possible perception of what the mitzvah is and changing it. So not only do we not feel it, now sometimes it's going to be hard and sometimes we really do feel it. The feel is really just jumping on and on and on and on. And then it's avoda, it's a job, it's our work to try to figure out how do we find that meaning in it, that patience, so we don't feel that way. But in the process, as we're developing that, as we're learning how to do that, we don't want our behavior to make it look like that, because that impacts what others look like also, right? If you're holding this, you're trying to get the 2 cups out, it looks like you're just a burden to you. It might be that you don't fully embrace the mitzvah as much as you should yet. But you know what? Don't make it look that way. And it might be that really, on a day that davening goes really long, it really is like you're just losing patience, you're losing your focus. But don't be checking your watch, don't be taking off your tefillin or just putting your siddur away or running out the door, right? It changes the appearance, it changes how other people perceive it. You don't want to change the dynamic, change the environment for that negative place. You want it to at least look as you're growing and developing inside, and that's okay to be developing inside. But you don't want to change the whole atmosphere for the bad. So how can we apply this idea to tefillah, right? Should we have every tefillah be these guys called nanach, start dancing in the street all day, davening? Maybe not quite. I'm not sure we're there yet. I'm not sure we should be there. But how do you think we can apply this? How could we, first of all, find that meaning that we're looking for? And second, make that perception, make that appearance, or not make of really embracing the mitzvah, or just not making the appearance of near alive kamasoi, mechsi alive kamasoi, the same thing. How can we make it not look like a mechsi? Let's think about that. What are your thoughts?